why. How about now? We got sound now? And I'll repeat what I just said. Tony, you there? Abundant love? Infinite love? How about now? We got audio now? Desktop audio. I think we have audio now. I hear it. So what I was saying was we got a tornado watch that's in effect here across the area. We've got emphasis on what we're watching with the amount of moisture that we have coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. We got the dew points that are pretty high, back up into the upper 60s in some locations across the deep southern United States. And then there's this. This is the cloud deck that is showing up here that is, again, telling us that what we basically have here are showers and thunderstorms that will be building and coming in on the heels of 60-degree dew points and the shearing. I've heard this being talked about in several different ways here, one of which was, I heard it called the gator mouth last night, just simply meaning that the wind direction down the surface is a different direction than the one aloft. Halfway through the atmosphere, we have a westerly wind down the surface. We're looking for southerly winds, and as a result, what's up, Michael? What's up is basically the fact that we have shearing that is also being aided and abetted by an actual true bona fide cool front that will be headed onto the south. A week ago, we were talking about record low temperature readings, record daytime high low temperature readings a week ago. Today, with the front that's coming in, it's not exactly going to be the same scenario here. We're actually looking to find out what's happening with wrong account. Actually looking to see what's happening with the rest of the region here and how things are going to change. Let's go right to the radar, though, and talk about what's happening into the big picture, because, moreover, we're going to see more and more in the way of precipitation now that will be headed across the region as strong thunderstorms and the occasional tornado warning that will be popping up from time to time. Right now, the one that we are looking at least first of all, is showing up from west to east on the map. This is one of those that we were looking at a little bit earlier that had popped up near Fort Smith. It's now a tornado warning near Clarksville. That's in central Arkansas, actually. Johnson-Logan counties, you're underneath a tornado warning now in Clarksville. So we want to get that to you and make sure that we know exactly what's happening here with the rest of the area as that does get pushed a little bit further to the east as we go through the rest of this afternoon. Let me show you the radar here. I can do that momentarily. As everything, at least at this point, appears to be moving from west to east. Now, looking at the radar imagery right about now. There you have it. There's what's going on back to the west there. It all lies within a watch box area that goes from Mount Olive down to Little Rock over to Tyler and Shreveport. There's your watch box region. Tornado watch box goes till it's got like 6 hours left in it here. Now we have a new tornado warning. It says for Goober Hill. I don't know if it's Gober, but I think it's Goober Hill there in Texas. Goober Hill, Patron Hill in Bronson, Texas. You're underneath the tornado warning for the next, it goes till 3:30, so it's almost an hour long, actually. So pretty much what we're looking at there into the long term is the fact that we're going to have most of those that will be coming in from west to east. Now, Manny, Louisiana, and Zwolle, Fort Jessup, Louisiana, but Manny, Zwolle, all under tornado warnings. Here we go. I mean, they're popping fast now across the region. We've got tornado warnings down to the south. These are coming in from the south-southwest. They'll be moving northeastward. And then the rest of what is happening is pretty much doing so at the flare of the moment. 53 minutes on this tornado warning. Sabine, Louisiana, Sabine, Texas, too. St. Augustine, Texas, and Shelby, Texas. You're underneath the tornado warning at the moment from the National Weather Service office, and they are telling us that this is a warned storm that's coming in from the southwest, moving northward and eastward. Look at the POE radar, and there it is. You can see it very well. Actually, this is a well-defined tornado on radar imagery, which also has the inbound of the outbound marker that we were talking about a little bit earlier showing up and doing so very well. We'll put this into motion just a little bit to show you. Coming out of Zwolle there, first of all, and moving northeastward, this one that was down to the south, quite a bit of lightning associated with it. Beginning to see lots of cellular development within the storm at the moment. So that is also going to be a player here in this forecast as we move along through the next little while. We'll be watching out for this pretty much over the next 30 to 45 minutes or so. So let's get back to the tornado warnings that we currently have that are in effect. These are tornado warnings in effect now. And the ones that we do have, we have 1, 2, 3, and a fourth one well to the north. A little displaced. This one is a little bit displaced from the rest of the area. So we'll go top to bottom here. The first tornado warning has 21 more minutes left in it. This is a tornado warned storm that is just to the east of Fort Smith, Arkansas. The National Weather Service office there in Fort Smith says we got a tornado warning for Logan County, Johnson County. A storm probably producing a tornado near Paris, moving to the northeast at about 45 with a tornado and quarter-size hail that'll be popping up in all of these regions. That is a storm that's moving rapidly to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Just outside of Texarkana, we have some other thunderstorms. But down to the south here, this is Natchitoches, Louisiana, Coshada, and Mansfield. That's where these are headed to, coming out of Manny and Zwolle. Zwolle's down to the south here. Know it well, both of those areas. Where's this moving? Well, we have 51 more minutes in this tornado warning for Sabine, San Augustine, and Shelby, Texas. That's coming in out of the southwest, moving northeast at 35. Looking for, the possibility of having some strong winds indicated there. Hail the size 3/4 or less is very likely in that whole mess as it moves from southwest to the northeast. And, again, doing so at a very rapid pace here at the moment. So we're still kind of looking at all of that as it moves along as well. Right now where we are, we have a tornado watch. That is in this area. The tornado watch, it goes, don't worry about when it goes through. We'll just tell you when it moves. It's going to move at some point. It's going to end up being somewhere else a little bit further on to the east as we go through the rest of the afternoon. But already we have a tornado that's within the box, a tornado warning there within the box, and two more that are out of the box, which is just inevitable. That's just always going to happen at some point or another. It's just the way things are. So let me look at one other thing here real quick. Put that into motion. All right. So that comes in from the south and moves northward across the rest of the region. A couple of those thunderstorms, too, that we'll be watching through the day today have the ability to produce high winds. I mean, even if we're not talking about the probability of producing tornadoes, this is what New Orleans looks like now in the Bourbon Street area. Folks are trying, well, that would be a commercial break, but after that's over with, I'll show it to you in just a second. But folks down in Louisiana trying to move around now and get things done before the storms get over there. But already into Bogalusa and the rest of the area, we do have some of the storms that are showing up. Right now we have this is considered as a special weather statement. Has 20 more minutes on this. This is going to be from northern Harris counties, Montgomery, San Jacinto, and beyond, and Cut and Shoot, one of my favorite places there. You're going to be affected by this as we go through the remainder of this afternoon. Right now into downtown areas of New Orleans. This is Bourbon Street. You can see traffic there. A couple of cars in the way that are getting into the way. And as a result, the National Weather Service office there once again kind of looking at the whole here of what's going to happen. The weather will be moving in there pretty shortly, but it's a shorts and short sleeve shirt and short pants day at the moment there in that neck of the woods. So that'll be the case going into the rest of this afternoon. It's a warm situation here at the moment. We got temperatures that are well above the norm. The anomaly is not what it was. Well, it is, but it's in the other direction here at the moment. The anomaly that is being shown to us here at the moment is pretty much into the other direction. So kind of what we're looking at there in both situations. Now, the weather is going to, more than likely through the rest of this afternoon, we're going to see the weather actually turning more and more into storm mode. Already we're seeing most every thunderstorm that's popped up is producing some sort of spin at the moment. We've had a pretty good idea about that over the last little while, that everything is seemingly going to spin pretty easily across this region. So we're just going to have to watch all of these thunderstorms as they pop up and move across from time to time. We're going to be speaking with, off and on through the day today, he's making a few last-moment repairs, Brett Adair, who is out and about, and he'll have information for us about what he sees on the roadways. He's down there into Louisiana at the moment, and he'll give us some more information about what's happening from the Shreveport area and beyond as we move into the next little while, because that's where basically everything is going to be coming from, that southwestern corner, and then move northward and eastward going through the remainder of the day today as well. Other areas that we'll be looking at, we'll see some weather getting all the way up into St. Louis and beyond. We'll probably see some weather making it into other areas there across the south, the deep south. We'll be showing you what's happening there in both of those locations. We got severe thunderstorm watches that are in effect, warnings that are in effect down to the south. Near Houston, we got a little warning there at the moment that we're also watching, so we'll keep our eyes on that and keep following what's happening here also as we move through the next 24 hours. But basically right now, we've also got content that we'll be looking at here. I do understand now that, let's see, the Union County Sheriff's Department, this was from 25 minutes ago, and Brandon Jarvis, who is helping us out today. We've got a lot of help today, people that are going to be giving us information. Brandon Jarvis is in with us today. He's going to be working and producing on what's happening. He sent me this just a few moments ago. The Union County Sheriff's Office says that residents believe a possible tornado has hit Union County there. They are looking to verify that. No injuries reported at this point, but there is some damage due to falling trees. And the emergency manager of Union County says 10 to 12 residential homes in the Shady Grove area, this is in Arkansas, by the way, in Northlet, Arkansas, have been damaged. Power outages are impacting the community there, all within the last few moments. So that just coming out of Union County there in Arkansas. Some damage taking place there not that long ago. So we're going to be watching out for all of that as we move through the rest of this afternoon. Some of the information there that we're looking at and spot on. So glad to hear that. That's already more information than I've had in a while. Right now, another tornado warning just coming across. This is going to be a new tornado warning just to the west of Little Rock, it looks like. And it's probably going to be this Hot Springs area. Let's go to the radar up here, LZK, and take a look. Where is that going to be? Let's go to our super duper velocity data. I think that might be this storm right here. So I'm getting the information a little bit before it's put out anywhere else. That looks like a tornado to me. Does it not look like a tornado to you? I think we're talking about one near Hot Springs Village there. We do have inbound and outbound. Actually, it's a pretty good inbound and outbound marker right about there. We do have some wind speeds coming into this at 40 to 50 knots and going in the other direction as well. We've got lightning that's showing up, and I'm going to look pretty goofy if that's not a tornado warning. There it went. So that is a tornado warning storm near Hot Springs Village, moving off to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. That goes for 44 minutes now from the National Weather Service out of Little Rock. It includes Perry County, Garland County, Saline County. You're all within this region, this polygon, if you will, and a tornado warning now northwest of Hot Springs Village, moving northwest at about 40 miles per hour. Has a radar indicated rotation with it. Let's see if we've got anything from the correlation coefficient with it. Correlation coefficient, I've talked about this many times, being on the air about what it is and what it does and what you're looking for. And you are looking for an anomaly to show up or a difference in what the screen looks like here. And in this case, the screen looks different. You can see as well as I do, there is an anomaly. Hold it. There's an anomaly right there. It looks different than the rest of this. The radar sees all this other stuff, and it goes, that's rain, because it's all the same. All these, this is the same color and everything. That's going to be rain. But see this one little object here? This is telling us that there is a difference, that something is going on here right about there. And I believe this is going to be something that is aloft right there, which is very worrisome. This is to the northwest of Hot Springs Village, and I believe we've got at least some sort of a deal there that is probably some sort of debris that is showing up. So we'll be watching out for that to make sure that if there's any changes, we'll pass those along to you. And at the moment, that could be an actual thing. You know, we get confirmation in so many different ways. We get confirmation of tornadoes in so many different ways. Sometimes it's human beings, and I don't like those as much as I do as far as confirming something. I believe in something like this more than I do just a human, confirmation. I'd rather see, something a little bit different when it comes to that. But in the meantime, that's our tornado warning at this moment, confirmed by the radar. Reflectivity is telling us that everything is there for that to be the case as well. And that's just a big mesocyclone you can see anyway. It's all rotating, sort of like in this whole deal right there. So that's a big deal overall there in the first place. Coal Hill, back over to Clarksville. There's a lot of lightning here as well. Where's our likely tornado? Well, we can find it here in reflectivity and velocity data. It's right at the edge of the 70-mile range, so we're not really picking up. Let's see. Let's go to SRX and to see if we have a better view. We do, but I don't see anything really rotating or spinning. There's nothing tight about this right there. There's a gap in between the inbound and the outbound. So for now, still a tornado warning. And actually, I see another spot that's spinning up here as well. This is spinning just a little bit out of the polygon. So pretty much what we'll be looking at. And just 1 second here. So Brett there, we've been talking to Brett, and we'll have Brett on from time to time here. Brett is also letting us know about what he sees off into the distance, what he is watching and seeing, and so we're going to be getting him on the air here. Let me see. Sometimes this won't fill in, but for just a second or two, let me give it just a moment to see, because I was seeing his card just moments ago. Let me try this another way. I'll get him in just a second. We got Brett out there, by the way, and he's following these storms for us very closely here. And we will have his camera on live from time to time as soon as it shows up again. Let me see what I got over here as well. All right, Tornado Watch. If you're just now joining us for the next 6 hours and 9 minutes, there's a tornado watch that's going to move a little bit. That's going to move from west to east, so don't count on that for very long. It starts down to the south, though, into the woodlands there, where we do have a watch that's being confirmed. We still have that continuing tornado warning for Goober Hill. Maybe my new favorite town of all right now is Goober Hill. So I think we're going to call that one as pea-sized hail also being likely there in that region. That's going to be southwest of Natchitoches. This is Natchitoches, Louisiana. It's Nacogdoches into Texas on the eastern side near the Sabine River. I can tell you about both of those. And Toledo Bend Reservoir, that's where this is. 8 more minutes on the tornado warning off to the eastern side of this. That's the Zawali storm, where the National Weather Service has called this a tornado warning. They're very near central Sabine Parish on the western side of which goes until 3 p.m. The Toledo Bend Dam is off into the distance there, too. We got 35 miles per hour on our movement to the north and to the east. The other tornado warning down to the south is still Sabine, Louisiana, Sabine, Texas, St. Augustine, Texas, and Shelby, Texas. You're underneath a tornado warning from a storm, severe thunderstorm, capable of producing a tornado near Rosavine, and it's moving to the northeast at 25 to 30 miles per hour. This is a storm, dangerous storm that has the possibility of producing a tornado at about any time here. POE radar here coming out of Alexandria, Louisiana, still shows a very tight. I believe this is a tornado, folks. I believe this is maybe, I don't know if it's our first tornado, but it looks like a big bad one right now showing up just down to the south of Zawali. I remember a couple of tornadoes in Zawali. I've covered many in Zawali, actually, going through that area in between there and Manny. And this one looks pretty bad. There is a very distinctive inbound-outbound with this, where we have a degree of certainty here, at least into the short term, of thinking that this is going to be one that is on the ground. We've got some mileage here, negative 47. I see some, and then there's a dead area there, but we got 55. We got about 80, 90 knots of inbound-outbound shear associated with this. And if I take it back in time, I can sort of show you its movement coming in from the south and then moving northeastward. That's velocity data. As far as our correlation coefficient goes, whether it's still picking up any kind of debris, a little. I don't see what I saw a few moments ago, but the radio's still there telling us that there's something going on across that region. Also up here in Logansport, we've got a little bit of a drop that shows up, so we'll look at that and see if that's associated with our other tornado warning. But right now, the Zwally storm, Manny Noble, back over to Robeline and into Natchez and to Natchitoches, Louisiana. Our main concern at the moment with 2 tornado warnings there showing up very distinctively and moving pretty rapidly off to the north and east, 35 to 40 miles per hour on both of those. This is when some sort of a linear situation here at the moment, but is big. So Brett, talking to Brett here, at least texting with him, he's pretty convinced that this is a tornado as well. I believe he's talking about this one near Manny. I'm going to effort getting him here in just a second. I don't have him officially. I don't have his stream. I don't see his stream. Jarvis, I don't know if you're in contact with him, but if you could let me know if his stream is active. He's telling me here through text his stream is live, but I don't see it yet, the RTMP stream that he's talking about. So if you can confirm that for me. I just don't have it showing up on OBS here at the moment. But we will get to him very shortly, and I don't see him on Ninja, so I think he's talking about just his car stream. And maybe I could get a... well, I've got it in there. It's the old one. All right. So getting back to where we are, want to mention Dean Barry's with us as well. Dean is up in Pittsburgh. He's helping us out with some of our information through the day today. We'll hear from him as well. He's put together some information that you might want to hear about coming up here shortly when we get into a situation where we can do that. But right now, still looking at the big picture, which shows us overall, we have this mess that's going on there across eastern sections of Texas and Louisiana and still moving northeastward up into Arkansas, coming in from the south and west at a pretty decent pace here overall. 35 to 40 miles per hour has been our deal as we have gone through and into the next little while. That's still going to be the case here. Right now, the new tornado warning, that's a reissue of the old tornado warning. But if we go through it top to bottom, we'll start out and go up to the Fort Smith radar here to begin with and show you that one storm. This is the one storm at the moment that is still kicking here, moving into the tornado watch area from the southwest. National Weather Service has called this a tornado warning for a while now, and that goes for 3 more minutes, actually, unless they decide to re-up that. Johnson-Logan counties, you're underneath the tornado warning here with a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado very near Hartman and moving northeastward up into the area there near Paris and Woodland and the Marson Bluff region. Catawba, you're in the path of this storm as well, coming out of Knoxville and moving along the western periphery, if you will, of the tornado watch area. That's on the western side. We have the one tornado warning now. This one is coming in for the next 33 minutes. This is a tornado warning for Garland, Perry, and also for the western side of Saline. And capable of producing a tornado near Jessieville, 7 miles to the northwest of Hot Springs Village, moving northeast at about 40. This is a viable storm here that we've been looking at for a while. Let's go to the velocity data again, and we'll change radar sites here to take a look at LZK. There's still some reason to believe there's spin there, but not like what it was moments ago. You can see the area of spin or rotation is right about there. As it comes northward and moves into the area that is just to the west of Little Rock, Perryville. You're out in the mountains here, actually, in this portion of central Arkansas. There's not a whole lot going on there into the smaller areas there. And again, I don't really see anything else that is spinning there across that region. They did just reissue an adjacent tornado warning. This is going to be from Pleasant Hill back over to Coshada, and that's going to be the tornado warning now just issued from Shreveport, Louisiana. DeSoto Parish is in the in that area there. where are those at? Those the reports that you're getting about debris for which storm is that, Dean? Northwestern Louisiana, south central Sabine Parish. So it's Red River, the Sabine Parish, Natchitoches in Louisiana, and DeSoto. The Zwolle storm, there is some debris being noted here. And I do believe, guys, back me up here if you know better. I believe just from radar, just from looking at the radar, I'm not looking at social media at all, but that Zwolle storm, I think, is the storm of the moment. Yeah, believe it is. I think that is the storm of the moment. DeSoto Parish, Red River Parish, Natchitoches Parish, and Sabine Parish is in that storm vicinity. POE radar has it. Now, it's folded over itself a little bit now. It's not really the mean green machine it was a few moments ago, even a scan ago. See, when it got together right there, it was moving northeastward, got together and coming into the south side of town, and now it has actually folded over itself. We're no longer looking at just a gate-to-gate shear situation here at the moment. We're looking at what basically has been a rear flank downdraft collapse of this storm at the moment. Reflectivity showing you there is an inbound and an outbound marker with that, but it's not what it was a few moments ago. And if you put this into motion, all of this going from the south to the north and east, and moving up along the river there, but still outside of the box, pretty much is what we were looking at. So, going to be watching out for that as we move a little bit further down the line. These are all situations where, once again, a lot of that information as it comes into us is going to be, as quickly as we can get that to you, actually. So, sort of what we're looking at. Let me do this real quick, and I think I can do, what else can I do here? Give me one sec. And I think I have some video for you here that I can show you in just a second. This is some of the new content coming in. We have some brand new video that's So this is a showing you a time lapse here. This is a time lapse of the Arkansas, Coal Hill, Arkansas live traffic camera now. This is where the tornado warning storm passed over. Oh, that's pretty wicked stuff there. Now that's pretty wicked. Let me back this up a little bit and show it to you once again. This is when the storm came in. These are Department of Transportation cameras there, and it's pretty wicked. You can see the traffic backed up there for a while as it moved on through. Inbound and outbound traffic there across the area. This is I-40, the interstate, going over I-40, and pretty wicked-looking stuff there at the moment on that video as we saw that passing on by. We're going to be monitoring. We are monitoring. That was a little bit of the information they brought in just a few moments ago. There's a new meso discussion coming out now, too, that I'll share with you momentarily from the National Weather Service office out of Norman, Oklahoma, the Severe Storms Prediction Center. They are the governing body, so we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. Plus, I'll show you the satellite image here in just a few minutes as well, because there are some things that we're watching there that are happening pretty rapidly, too. But right now, I think for the moment, we're still actually just kind of looking at the radar imagery as to what is happening here with the big picture. Overall, we still have more showers and thunderstorms that are developing down to the south, new tornado warnings that are being either ready to pop or have already popped. Right now, the two biggest ones are sitting there just between Shreveport and Alexandria, Louisiana on I-44, as the bigger thunderstorms at the moment have been producing these thunderstorms that have all rotated pretty rapidly. We've seen very easily that these rotate. That's Natchitoches there in Louisiana, Pleasant Hill, Coshada, going all the way down to the south to the town of Zwolle, Louisiana. These are going to be right in within the box there for the next 42 minutes that we have that runs from DeSoto Parish, Red River Parish, Natchitoches, and Sabine Parish. You're underneath the tornado warning. Moving to the northeast at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. So checking out all of that stuff from the south and to the north. These are going to be heavy thunderstorms, rain producers too. We're going to have rapidly developing rain shields. One thing I can show you that works out here as well on the radar imagery. Let me show you this. Look at everything that's going on in the environment. But one of the things I want you to see here, first of all, is that, okay, so we have an area here. This is all linear back in here. And we always watch this area in advance of everything else. And we have some smaller little areas that are popping up, some thunderstorms that are popping up. But in advance of the line, there are these, and I want you to look at the shape of these, and they're already producing that little arc. Do you see it? You don't have to squint too hard to see the arc that's occurring here. So what does that tell us? That tells us that down at the surface we have thunderstorms that are beginning to build. The precipitation begins to build closer to the surface, and as it goes up, the winds become more westerly, and that pushes them off in this direction. They start and build down here with a southwesterly, but then they end up with a westerly that comes in that pretty much drives everything off to the east a little bit more. So you get that little kidney bean shape that shows up, and it's a good indicator of what's happening into the atmosphere that might get it to pop at a pretty quick pace here. So more or less that's what we're looking at there with the short term, is that I think that's our field of opportunity there for some of the bigger thunderstorms to occur that would be rotating and then could turn rogue on us as we go through the rest of this afternoon. The current thinking is that additional thunderstorm development is expected as we move through the afternoon, particularly after, they say, 23Z. So we're looking right before dark there. There's also a 3 to 5 inch rainfall. This is a flash. This is really about flash flooding that could occur, and we kind of looked at this yesterday. Nothing's moving very fast along this whole line of precipitation. Nothing's moving very fast at all. So just another situation there that we're kind of looking at into the short term. The two tornado ones that we presently have that are in effect there outside of the box at the moment. Actually, the southern part of the box is probably out of date already. I don't make that call, but if I look at it, most of what they're talking about at the moment is really looks like it's out of the box. So don't worry about that really at this point. I wouldn't worry about what that means at this point, actually. And kind of where we are with that whole situation there at the moment. So we back on out of this and we take a look at what's happening in the short term. Let's see, I got some new information from Arkansas. Okay, let me see if I can pass this along here to you. Brand new information again coming in just a few moments ago. Appreciate all the help that we're getting from those who are actually helping us get this on the air. This is from Pam, and tornado siren in Paris was going off at her house not that long ago. She had a tornado siren going on there. Then the heavy rain began, lightning and thunder, temps dropping, winds gusting. And that's kind of what it looked like from her perspective there, I believe. And, she's right there beneath where that little hook was that was showing up in the radar imagery there just a little while ago, the little hook that was showing up. Thank you, Pam, for letting us use that information there into Arkansas. A little shelf cloud, it looks like, that was preceding all of that. When it moved in and across the region there, all moving at about 30 to 35 miles per hour and doing so at a decent little clip for the afternoon. But that's not really enough to help out the situation tremendously. That's sort of the case at the moment that still brings us to where we are with a lot of this precipitation and the way it's going to act into the short term. I think that's basically where we are with all of that at the moment. Let me see here. All right, so we're going to give you a wrap again here of what's going on with radar. The only warning that we currently have at the moment, the only warning that we have, is the one just west of Natchitoches here. That is a tornado warning still in effect there in Natchitoches. That's one of the bigger storms that we've been watching for the hour. That's been moving from west to east and been doing so at a pretty decent pace. 37 more minutes on this tornado warning. DeSoto, Natchitoches, Red River, and Sabine parishes. You're all underneath the tornado warning near Zwolle, 28 miles to the northwest of Anacoco. And it's moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So that would include all areas within the path there would be Pleasant Hill. Zwolle, you're down to the south now of the storm, but Cochetta and up to Martin, Ashland, Saline, you're in the path of this storm, just coming out of Natchitoches, and Robeline to the south side. Robeline's that small area just to the southwest of Natchitoches that a lot of people travel out to. Manny down to the south there, too. And we got another thunderstorm. Looks like it's trying to build here near St. Augustine. That's one that we were looking at through the day today that started up and picked up in intensity as we moved through there a little bit earlier in the day today as well. So we're just now beginning to get some pictures, some confirmation of what's going on out there. It looked like it was all breaking loose there for a moment. And now things are steadily getting a little bit better as we move along. So that's the radar. Hold on for just 1 second, and let me get something on for you here. It's a warm day no matter where you go. It's warm all across the region and going to be that way going into the next several hours, actually. We've been watching that through the day today, the warm weather building across all of the region here overall. Let's see. Brand new tornado warning now. This is for Pleasant Hill, Louisiana, Belmont, Louisiana, Evelyn, Louisiana. Goes until 3:35 now. 45, excuse me. A tornado warning. Pea-size hail there. That's on the southwestern side of 44. That's just, watch, this is going to move up and cover Cochetta here in a minute, I think is what's going to happen into the short term here. I don't think that's an additional warning. That's this one that they're going to move forward just a little bit. There we go. If you hit enough buttons, eventually you come up on the one that you wanted. Kind of learned that through R&D with OBS. We just keep smacking buttons. Eventually one will come up that I want to use, and kind of what just happened there. But give me 1 second here. I'm going to put you on talk amongst yourselves, and I'll be right back. Let me give you a little update here. We're still having some technical difficulties trying to get Brett's full signal in here and him be able to speak. Again, the guy's in a tornado. I have his audio. I just don't have any video from him. I can hear every word he's saying, but I don't have any video from him. But we'll work that out here momentarily. Right now, a brand new tornado warning. This is the one that continues for Converse, Louisiana, Pelican, Louisiana, Benson, Louisiana. Tornado warnings, they're still occurring. That's what you see here on the screen at the moment. We have the 2 or 3 warnings there that are ongoing. These are basically going to be in that area just to the southwest of the interstate there on 44, coming out of Natchitoches, Louisiana, just outside of Mansfield, and running off to the northeast at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. The one that's been on the ground here for a while that we've been looking at down to the south, we had a lot of indication of that being on the ground a few moments ago. Does not look like what it did earlier. There's a gap there, a big gap. But the second one is now coming in on the southwestern side. And I think this is our new tornado warning south and west of Converse. The one at the moment, at least, is Converse. That's going to be a strong indication of a tornado there showing up in the velocity data. This is indicating to us where we do have strong inbound and outbound in both locations here. The storm that was Swally bound is up here, but this is the one that we're looking at now coming out of St. Augustine at the moment that has, at least at the moment, the signature that is more concerning to me than the other one. I know we've already had damage out of the one, but this one looks to be the bigger storm of the moment. We can also look at it and see that the data here indicates where we do have a differential in some of the data. This is going to be a specific phase product that will show you where we do have higher density of the object and a little bit of a correlation coefficient. Now, there's still a correlation coefficient. I was talking about this storm to the north, and what we're looking at is debris aloft. There's still debris there. That doesn't always mean that the tornado is still on the ground. Debris can stay aloft for a long time after a tornado has lifted. It's still an indicator that lets me know we need to be watching this very closely here to see if it does redevelop as a tornado on the ground. At this very moment, it's trying to. You can see it's sort of a broad rotation there. A couple of things here. Let me look and see about the times here, because that was at 325. The velocity data was 325. Our correlation coefficient 324. They're together, and you can actually see the debris is behind where the tornado is likely going to be, at least as far as the radar goes, reflectivity included. So some of that could have been caused from the earlier time that the tornado was on the ground there. But secondary tornado down here to the south of Huxley and Noble, this is a wicked looking storm. I believe we have 2 tornado possibilities here within about 25 miles of each other, which is very concerning to us. Obviously, you'd like to be able to see what happened with the first one, but not really the case. And a little bit of spin going on just to the south of Robeline as well that we were watching there too. But coming across I-44 on the southwestern side near Pleasant Hill, Coshada, and then down to the south of Swally, we have another spin rotation here. The last update that came in, not exactly as tight as it was the times before, but still nonetheless, I think we have cycling storms here through the afternoon. We're going to have them come and go. Not a long-term situation just yet, but this one right there is worth watching and something that we'll continue to do as we go through the rest of this afternoon. Other than that, we don't have any more tornado warnings. The hotbed seems to be down there to the south and east of our box. We do have several severe thunderstorm warnings going on off to the north here that we're looking at, and the Fort Smith radar would be the place to go for that. Still looking like these are mostly going to be off and on hit or miss sort of thunderstorms that will be popping up. SRX radar, we can go to LZK probably and take a little better look at what's happening here from the south to the north, and all of those developing in that general direction off to the northeast, coming out of Shreveport, Arkadelphia, over to Hot Springs, and into Little Rock as well. So watching all of that as we continue to move northward and eastward here. And let me pop off here for just a second. I'll be right back. All right, again, our two main warnings here down to the south. Still watching these on the radar coming in over the last few minutes. They have updated POE. We're kind of in between there in Shreveport, Louisiana, to take a look at the two storms. Just ironically happen to be outside of the tornado watch box. It always happens, folks, where that's going to be the case. Right now, we're looking at some of the heaviest precipitation showing up across all of these areas that have two possible tornadoes involved with them. This is the one that is spinning and rotating there just to the north of the interstate near Alexandria. A second one down to the south that we were following too. Differing colors, by the way, on the velocity data because you're looking at differing radar sites here. If you go to the one down to the south, we get different colors out of POE, but still the same information. And again, this just came across the portion there of the interstate that we were looking at a little bit earlier. And they're going to reissue this as a tornado warning. They're chopping off everything down to the south, and they're going to reissue this a little bit further. Let's see. Just across the interstate, actually, is what they're doing. There's a new tornado warning, but this is just across 49 where they're going to go ahead and cut off the remainder part of this. There's really no reason to have the tornado warning going down here, so that's about to get cut off if you've got a new warning coming in. This is very broad down to the south. I don't think this is imminent. Is a tornado at the moment, but there's spin. There's a lot of spin, a lot of rotation going on with the thing right there. So we'll just keep our eyes on that overall. That's reflectivity data, and we've also got some correlation coefficient to be looked at here as well. A little bit of that beginning to show up still, but this may be from 30 minutes ago. This might not be something that's happening right now. This could be from a little bit earlier that is still aloft. I've been associated with it many times before to where you can have stuff aloft for 30, 45 minutes to an hour. Depending on how high up it got up into the jet stream, it can go hundreds of miles. I've seen that before out of the Tuscaloosa tornado with stuff ending up in Gadsden, Alabama a couple of hours later, traveling about 120 miles. We don't have anything to the north in the northern part other than some off and on scattered thunderstorms that are still showing up here. LCK radar has a little bit of that. And just as we thought a few moments ago, I knew there had to be a new tornado watch, and they just now issued the tornado watch, a brand new one that is now in effect that goes through Oklahoma, actually. So they went backward. They went westward. Now we're to Wichita and to Shawnee and Stillwater. There's a new tornado watch just now being issued from that region. So we'll look at that, too, into the short term here and talk about what's going on with the big part of that. This is going to be one of those storms that we were looking at a little bit earlier that we're going to have tornado watches that'll pop up both north and south, which is the case right now at the moment that just happened a few moments ago. We got now a southerly part of this. Hold on, let me get this into the data here. Okay, so once again, that's where we are with our current warnings and information that we have. We do have a new tornado watch being issued back to the west a little bit that covers portions of Oklahoma. You'll see that light up on the screen here momentarily. That covers Oklahoma. And so now we don't, again, our tornado warnings that we have, I'm not laughing because they're tornado warnings. It's just a little ironic that both tornado warnings, the ones that really have tornadoes going on at the moment, are east out of the polygon that is the watch. And so I really thought they were going to update this into the watch area, into the tornado, the watches into the tornado area, which they have not done just yet. They'll get to that, I'm sure. And speaking of debris and debris aloft, you've got it right there. You can see it showing up right there off to the north there a little bit. So kind of looking at all of that at the moment, and much of that precipitation will continue to drive its way northeastward as we move through time. Let me take a look here for a moment.
moving in that direction on Highway 371 right now. Wide open air, nothing to mess with that that particular signature either. That thing may produce a tornado at any moment. Can you hear me? Check, check, check. You got me, David? Okay. I don't know why he can't. I'm showing in the program side, so. Yeah, there's a very, very, that's a problem. That signature is about to be a massive issue. It's about to pivot. There it goes, west side of Natchitoches. We're going down into Camp T. I guarantee you that's about to get a tornado warning. It's about to drop a really bad tornado. No, it's not. I'm waiting on the weather service to see what they do. I'm in communication with them right now, letting them know where I'm headed. Very, very, very concerned about what's about to go down here. I'm hopeful. It looks like the red lights finally start to taper off here in a minute, and we can take off. I will say this: one thing get near river basins, they seem to spin up and tornado immediately. It's approaching the Red River. The Red River runs just east of Natchitoches here, from Coushatta down toward Natchitoches, and it is coming. That thing looks legit. All these low-lying areas right here. Kill them wipers. I got a better idea for this crap. This is getting ridiculous. Everybody's about to have to get out of the way. Then go. All right, here we go.
We were off the air for a few minutes ago, so there is the question of whether or not we welcome you back. And we will welcome you back. And I have some friends with me this time who are here to help me not look so foolish in what is happening here, by the way. We're talking weather here. It's LSM, Live Storms Media. Brett Adair is out and about, and we've been efforting speaking to him. He's in the back roads and bayous of Louisiana, and he's following some storms there at the moment. We do have a couple of tornado warnings. And I'll get you up to date on those as they are happening right now as we fill in with you, the viewer, and give you a second to get in. Jackson, Lincoln, Ouachita, and Union Parish. Those 4 parishes underneath tornado warnings at the moment. So what we're watching is everything moving in from the south and moving its way northward. I'm meteorologist David Neal. Just beneath me here is Brandon Jarvis and Dean Berry. Down on the bottom, the south end of the picture is Dean, and everybody is here from all over the country. Really, we're representing the upper portions of Pennsylvania or Pennsylvania, and also I think in western Tennessee. Mr. Jarvis is joining us now. Thank you guys for helping me out with what's going on here. We're still kind of watching what's happening, and Jarvis, maybe we'll start with you. What's the predominant thing that sticks out to you so far? We have a new tornado watch back into Oklahoma where things really haven't started yet, but so far, what's the predominant thing that's in your mind?
Been watching that tornado. We had a tornado warning down for Jonesboro and Rushton earlier in Louisiana. I believe that was confirmed. Just looking for some damage reports there, and just sent you a damage report. Got permission to use the photos. In Jessieville, Arkansas earlier today, they had damage to the high school.
In Jessieville. Yeah, we had. Yep. I remember having that tornado warning a little bit earlier in Jessieville. I know we've seen some off and on pictures. Dean, what have you seen so far that sticks out to you as far as the storms go? Because we've had really a cluster of thunderstorms that are taking place here at the moment that haven't impacted a large area. We've sort of been training over the same places, but what have you got so far?
Well, the one thing that's sticking out to me, David, is the damage photos that were sent in from Jessieville. You have that tree damage, and there's been no none of these slabs that you see from the plains in the spring, and this is a good thing. Additionally, down into Sabine, I believe, or Saline,
yeah,
Parish down in Louisiana earlier. Public safety was reporting a tornado with debris crossing the road. And other than some tree damage, I didn't hear much else on that public safety traffic. The one thing that I have been thinking about, spending so many years in the emergency medical services and emergency management, fire department, just all forms of public safety, is you look at this region of the country, and there is a not insignificant portion of the population that live in mobile homes, modular homes, trailer homes, this sort of thing. And we have been looking to the NWS. They've been doing a great job so far in getting these warnings out in a timely fashion to give people a chance to get to safety.
Yeah, and this is now considered a confirmed large dangerous tornado that is on the ground here. Sadly, it's getting out beyond the 70-mile range here into our Purple Haze area, and this is a radar deficient region too, by the way, of Louisiana. So we're on the Shreveport radar, but we're getting closer and closer to losing that. We're going to have to go over to Jackson here shortly. Like I said, radar deficient. Specifically, but that is a spinning storm there that has developed into a large tornado that is perhaps on the ground there at the moment. All indications are that this thing is still rotating very heavily. You can see it there on the radar image. We've got what we call gate-to-gate shear that shows up right there in a very well-defined region that has this depicted as a large tornado besides that. And if we see any damage overall here, by the way, that'd be in our correlation coefficient, and there is some sort of an integer that shows up here, an anomaly in this image where we have some what we call debris, but in the actual image itself we have some debris, but we do have a solidified area that we're also looking at here that shows up as going to be something. That's going to be, I think, in these pixels you see right here in the middle just to the north of Shudrant. and coming into the Downsville region. That's coming across I-20, actually, east of Ruston and just to the west of Monroe, Louisiana, where we have the likelihood of a tornado crossing over the interstate here at the moment. Now, the National Weather Service did just go ahead and reissue another tornado warning back to the west a little bit. Actually, they're just going to update this one. And they took out large dangerous, if they're, large dangerous to me means somebody's looking at it, particularly at that point and watching the damage be done. But at the moment, that is a new tornado warning that's being issued. It'll come up here in just a couple of seconds. I think it maybe did, but it's within the red area. We got red on red. So here we go. There's your tornado warning that goes across the interstate all the way up into Downsville, Shudron area, and right along 80, US 80, or I-20 that goes west to the east into the Downsville region here, too. About 44,000 people within the polygon, if you want to do a little survey of how busy it is. But that's up on 20. It's in the northern part of the state, too. And that's pretty much what I've seen. As far as any social information, Jarvis, you seen anything to go along with that?
Not seeing anything coming yet, but keeping a close eye out.
Yeah, these things now with social media and everything, they're hard to, you can't hide one of these anymore. I mean, there's typically going to be some sort of chatter or some sort of, pictures that'll be coming across pretty soon. If you have one of these that's on the ground in particular, there are a lot of people out there. We call our storm analysts. We don't necessarily, we're not into chasing really, as we are to give information about storms that we see or we come across, and to help you, our viewer, and we always want to be looking upstream as well. We're talking about what's happening right now into the current, but we're also looking upstream to talk about what's going to happen into the future. Ironically enough, tongue-in-cheek, I've been talking about this for a while, has not 90% of the action today come out from underneath and away from our tornado watch boxes? I mean, here we are again. Either one of you, both of you, one of you could. Dean, how about you? I mean, you find the irony in that so far, I think we've had one tornado warning that was in the northwestern corner of the watch box here a little bit earlier, but have you seen anything? Has there been any discussion about whether or not they're going to push this forward, these watches forward?
I haven't seen any inside information so far into that regard. I have been noticing that most of our warnings have been popping off outside of the watch area. And that watch update that hit about an hour and a half ago, I want to say, that extended the watch more towards the west and north. Was very interesting. And now we're seeing that second line that's firing through Oklahoma up towards Kansas, which is now moving off to the east again. And just want to communicate to people, just because a storm has already come through your area, just because it's been raining, just because you may have flooding or you may have some wind damage in your area, don't rest on your laurels yet, because there's more on the way.
I think we talked about this. We've been talking about this for a while now, about the fact that there were so many facets to this storm. And I sort of want to get out and look beyond here, because there are other areas now that we have the new watch box there for the eastern side of Oklahoma or southeastern Kansas, coming into the western portions of Missouri, up around Table Rock, and then northwestern corner there, if you will, of Arkansas. That's the other watch box. And we do have some thunderstorms here. We'll just take a look at them here on the radar. We got quite a few radars here, actually, we could look at, but SRX is the one of the moment here in Fort Smith that we'll be looking at. So McAllister, this is over in Oklahoma, McAllister, northward, all the way up into Eufaula area here near Crowder. There's quite a bit going on here as far as the thunderstorms developing. They're not singular, they're along the line, but still producing some inbound and outbound near Canadian, Indianola. In that region, there's definitely a change in wind direction there near Kiowa, or all the way down to the south to Atoka. We got a little area there, too, that we were looking at. And then off to the north, a little bit of spin. Now, these are going to be inside of the line of thunderstorms that will be moving west-east for the rest of this evening from Pryor Creek into the Adairville area there, too. And let me show you really quickly here. Here's a look at the satellite image as well. Right before dark, you can see the blow-up of thunderstorms. The cluster of thunderstorms has popped up here in this region, and that is another reason for the thunderstorms there to continue a motion off to the east. And the bubbling effect you see, that's these thunderstorms growing in height and dimension. You can see the eastern side of which has a little shadow that shows up there also. So we're still watching development back to the west. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning. They just popped up here in eastern Oklahoma for Craig, Mays, Rogers counties. Craig, Mays, Rogers counties near Kiowa. That's going to be moving to the northeast at about 30, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Nickel-sized hail is a possibility there, too, as all that heads off to the northeast. Out of the Wichita region here, we got a special weather statement for a few storms here as well in the Wilson and Woodson counties with a strong thunderstorm headed northeastward there out of the southern part of the county, but going northward and heading on into Leroy and over to Burlington with a few thunderstorms. And these are just now developing, guys. Jarvis, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Was this going to be a nocturnal situation? And it looks like now that's a yes. It is going to be a nighttime situation here, which makes it doubly more dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely, David. And you want to make sure tonight, when you get home before you go to bed, make sure you got your weather radio on, make sure you got your smartphone with you, and it's turned on so you have multiple ways to get these warnings. And make sure you have your tornado shelter already prepared and ready to go should you have to get up and jump in there.
Yeah, we always talk about, all those things that you can do. And I know, Dean, part of what you've done before is, discussed what to do during a situation like that. I was always told to make sure that you cover your head, and the thought process behind that has always been for me to tell people to make sure that you had something to do that with, and for your children, even so far as to, I didn't invent it, but I've been talking about wearing a baseball helmet or a football helmet for many, many years.
Absolutely, David. One of those things that you really want to do is you want to be adequately prepared. Now, you want to be prepared long before the day you need it, of course. However, in these cases, you want to identify the safe room in your home, interior room on the lowest floor of the building. Basements are a great place, but not everybody has one. So that interior room on the lowest floor, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible to take shelter during these tornado warnings. If you're in the box, go ahead and take shelter. There is no use in going outside and trying to see that. That's why that's what we tell people. There are professionals that do this, and we encourage you to leave the sightseeing of these storms to the professionals. Just have that helmet in your safe place. You're going to want a flashlight, good batteries. You're going to want to know a weather radio with the alert feature, which is a great way to receive warnings. They're very affordable at major retailers everywhere. And also your cellular phone, as Jarvis has mentioned, the wireless emergency alerts. To go in your settings and make sure those are turned on, you'll have multiple ways to receive warnings and never be caught off guard.
And as you say that, two more warnings, two new tornado warnings. The first two of the day for eastern Oklahoma now. We have two tornado warnings just now issued from the National Weather Service office. I believe this one's going to be out of Tulsa for the next 42 minutes. We have Craig, Delaware, Mays counties. Craig, Delaware, and Mays counties. You're underneath the tornado warning at the moment. This coming in out of the southwest near Pryor at 40 miles per hour motion to the north and east. Some of these areas include Pensacola, Cherokee State, the Hoot Owl area, which is just south of Big Cabin and beyond. So that's our tornado warning to the north. Now, this developed so fast. You can see the radar at the moment. It went from, I think, 30 minutes ago, from nothing to something, and now near Adair is where the big chunk of this is at the moment, and it is producing a likely tornado into this area near Pryor Creek and Adair. The second one down to the south includes the town of Eufaula. This is brand new again from Haskell, McIntosh, and Pittsburgh counties in Oklahoma. Brand new tornado warnings issued here until 6:15 for the storm. $half size hail being reported within this thing as well, but a very well-defined storm near Canadian and moving northeastward toward the town of Eufaula. So we'd be looking at that arriving there across that area very rapidly, very quickly from the southwest. There is some motion there. I don't see exactly. I mean, it's going to be near Canadian, what they're calling a tornado. At the moment, it's going to be right in this area here and going northeastward like this. So expect that from Dutchess Landing back over to Chickasaw into the summit area there in Muskogee. As we move along. The one to the north here near Pryor Creek is also for 40 more minutes now. That's Craig, Delaware, Mays County. You're underneath the tornado warning with the spin. The rotation noted right about here, and I think this is initialization. They're looking at this is a precursor to what would be a tornado on the ground probably. I think they're looking at this and going, it's a pretty good call that we can see this developing And so they've made those 2 calls based on that. But this might be the thing that happens right here before it all busts out there into eastern Oklahoma or southern Kansas, I think, as we move along, besides the others that we have. And not to forget, I want to go to this one real quick down here as well that we've been watching for a while. This coming out of the Shreveport office now. We're in the middle of no man's land. We're about to get into the 70-mile range. I don't see anything there that looks like, to me, that there's a lot going on as far as, well, that's pretty ugly. And what did that do? Did that back up a little? Kind of sitting there on the interstate at the moment, so that's got to be a mess. That is your tornado warning there that's going to last for a while longer there across that region as a result of the stronger thunderstorm that developed a little bit earlier. Now, tornado warning here, and that'll be a continuation of the storm that we saw a little bit earlier coming in from the south. This thing hasn't been on the ground all that time, but this cell originated well down to the south near Zwolle and has made its way all the way across the northern tip section, if you will, of the state, and now is pretty much sitting there across the northern sections of the state with a tornado warning there as well. Jarvis, you got anything?
Not seeing much coming
Not
in.
seeing much on social media.
They're quiet today, David. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I would think it's probably just because it's so difficult to get from point A to point B, especially across Louisiana. South-north is difficult. And anytime, a storm might be moving 30 to 40, it's hard to maintain that in a straight line if you're in a vehicle. If you could fly, that'd be easy to maintain and stay ahead of, but it's difficult. I mean, if it's moving 30, I used to always, back in the old days when I used to be out there, if it was 30 or 40 in my horse and buggy, I'd say let it go and wait for the next one. It's super hard. Unless you're on an interstate that's, pretty much, if I was on I-20, I might try to get ahead of stuff. But down there, you sort of have to let it come to you. And I think it's very difficult to get information out of here as far as that goes. Now, I know we have thunderstorms that are, developing quickly, too. And they did go ahead and push this tornado warning a little bit further to the north. They're still saying radar indicated. And now they're going to push this up near Schudrant, which is right there. Schudrant right here. That's where the tornado is, right on the interstate, is the latest tells us now. It is right on the interstate. You can see that, too. There's a little bit of a gap here between inbound and outbound. It's not exactly pixel to pixel, gate to gate at this point. So, I mean, it's obviously spinning. It's rotating. It's easy to see it's doing that. But a point, I don't see pixel to pixel like I did a little bit earlier. This might be a cycling tornado that's actually taking place. But with the pictures that I saw, Jarvis, I think you just sent that 4-panel. Was that a mobile home park?
Let me go back and take a look.
I can't remember exactly what that was, but was that part of this storm, I think, is what I'm trying to remember, if it was a different storm.
May have been a different storm, but it looks like that 4-panel last night, that was actually a high school.
A high school.
And then a mobile home.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was in
Jesseville, Arkansas.
Jesseville.
Yeah.
That was way down there then.
Man, I seen some reports earlier that there was damage in Hot Springs, but no official reports on that or images. So.
All right. Hot Springs. Yeah, getting a lot of this is still at that point to where hit or miss. I mean, that stuff came out gangbusters there for a little bit, and then as it developed and moved on to the east. Now, it looks like a lot of our development is going to be further and further to the west as we move along. The 2 tornado warnings that we have and a third severe thunderstorm warning that has the potential. Did they just call that a third? No. The Muskogee storm here has the potential to be a tornado warning, too, because it does have some spin right there with it as well. That's going to be for Wagoner, Cherokee, Muskogee counties. You're underneath the severe thunderstorm warning for that. In the short term and the long term, there are 3 distinctive cells there that are ripe and viable to actually become a tornado. The one tornado warning that we do have, though, that shows up right now down to the south is still that one near Monroe, Louisiana, just off to the west of Monroe, near Choudront, and moving northeastward up into the Farmerville, Marion region. Again, that's very tough as far as driving in that general direction goes. I'm not sure where Brett is or if either of you have a bead on him with GPS, but I don't think he's going to be able to get to that. And now, if I'm him, I'm like, what do I do? This is a tough call. If you're out there and you're trying to navigate now, where do you go? Where's the target area at this point? Because it's all a big, junky mess of rain-wrapped stuff. This has got to be a difficult call here at this point. Not really sure, how to make that call. And I don't want to forget, there's been a persistent box. This is a special weather statement. Over in Nashville, Tennessee, OHX, let's go to the radar over there. Pretty big thunderstorm that's coming into downtown Nashville now on the western side. This is going to be on the western side, I think, of Davidson County, Dixon and Davidson, Hickman, Cheatham, and Williamson counties, all coming in from the southwest again. This is an I-40 storm that's coming in from the southwest. That's going to have some high wind associated with it, maybe some hail there as well on the western side of town. That is the Cumberland River that goes from west to east and serpentines around through there. But that'll be coming into town here very shortly over the next 30 minutes or so, make its way into the western side of Nashville with some high winds. Coming into Henderson and beyond, and then still continuing to move on to the east. This is an area here, too, where they've had snowfall over the last week. I was in Nashville till yesterday, actually. It was 70 yesterday when I headed back from Nashville, but it was 8 when I went there the weekend before. It was 8 degrees, and there was snow falling. So big change here as far as the weather goes, no matter where you are, although that's a honking big old storm right there. And maybe we'll sort of watch that coming into Belmead, actually, from the western side of town into Davidson County and moving eastward. Is there the potential for a tornado there? I was talking to Brett about this yesterday, and it really didn't look like that was going to be the case. But since most of our tornado warnings during the day today have come outside of the box, I guess anything is possible. So pretty much where we stand with everything right there. Guys, if... has anybody heard from Brad? Do you have a beat on him at all? I know we're all trying to speak with him from time to time, but I don't know if he has any new information for us either at this point. And I'm sure he's kind of stuck there with a difficult decision to make as far as traveling there into Louisiana. And I heard some people who were up there into eastern Oklahoma say, I wish I was in Louisiana, and vice versa for the day. So I guess it depends on where you are and what you're likely doing. Not to forget, too, by the way, that tomorrow is another day with an enhanced risk that's a little bit further onto the east across and into Alabama as we go through the day on Tuesday. And it might even linger a little bit into late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning before heading into the Carolinas. One of the first times I've seen the Carolinas actually be affected this way as well. But right now, we still have I think there was a new tornado warning just now coming in, or maybe they reaffirmed the one that was just out of there. So, Jarvis, let's talk about this. If somebody is watching LSM at the moment and they have some information, how do they get it to us?
You can send it on our Twitter or Facebook page and tag what hashtag you want to use, David?
I don't care. That's your job. That's for you to think about. I don't think about those things because I won't be looking.
Yeah, you can tweet us at Livestorms Media. Use hashtag live video or live or damage. And
that would work.
Yeah, that way we have a way to filter it. But yeah, love to see your pictures, your videos. Just make sure you guys are doing it safely.
Yeah, as always, make sure you're doing it safely and make sure you're not using somebody else's picture or video. because I just looked. I've had about 4 pictures come in from some Facebook family of mine who got them from somewhere else and didn't get permission. So really trying to watch out for that these days and make sure that you're only using your own content or you have permission to use somebody else's is the way this goes about. Copyright's a big thing now when it comes to social media, and displaying somebody else's information is not cool at all, especially if you're getting paid for it. And, that's the only thing that we are suggesting is that you make sure you have ownership of it. Still, the big picture here shows quite a bit of activity that's moving from west to east, and most of it, again, the Shreveport radar has pretty good coverage of what's happening there till you get out to the 70-mile range, but the lone tornado warning there that still remains is the one that you can see here on screen, which is reason for us to believe that there's still enough of a tornado there actually to keep giving that out. That's 14 more minutes for Lincoln, Ouachita, and Union parishes. These are parishes now back in Louisiana, capable of producing a tornado about 9 miles to the east of Ruston. It's moving northeast at about 30 miles per hour across the interstate and beyond. And so here is, I'm going to go to the satellite image here for just a second. Guys, thank you very much, and let me know if you have some more information, any information that we can pass along, and we'll maybe get back to you and talk about that in further detail. Right now, the satellite image that we're looking at here, and here you go. The satellite image has plenty of data at this point, most of which is still coming in from the west to east, coming up along the Mississippi River. You can see it gets contaminated there right about dark with the image that still has more information for us than any. And so as you look at this at the moment, it's still providing us with information that says colder cloud tops are there, cold enough to where we're only basically talking about the fact that these are going to be pretty stout thunderstorms moving in across the rest of the region. From west to east, they'll do so throughout the remainder of this evening. 2 tornado warnings to the north, one just to the north and east of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And still, Muskogee, we got a thunderstorm there too, but not a tornado warning at this point. We still have a little area there east of Wichita that we're watching too that has some oomph with it that could produce a tornado at about any point. So the overall picture has a storm there at Henrietta. I want to go to the Fort Smith radar here and take a little bit better look. I think this will give us a better image. And there's your storm that has the tornado associated with it. A couple of things you do see automatically is that we have a lot of lightning that's occurring here. So the lightning data is pretty stout at the moment here with all of this as well. I'm going to get my head back into the picture here. There we go. And the lightning data, anytime you see an increase in lightning like this, you're looking at the fact that we have new energy coming into the system, and it's using that energy to produce lightning strikes. And sometimes the genesis of a tornado will develop within that environment. That's what's that's the case right now, is we're using a lot of that energy right there. Now there is a new tornado warning. They just pushed the polygon a little bit further to the north. We'll go to the INX radar. And that looks pretty wicked, doesn't it? That looks really wicked. And our tornado is likely going to be right about, I think it's developing kind of in this area right here, near all that lightning. So it's not far from Adair and Pensacola. And probably, I think the tornado would actually be developing somewhere into this region right here. So, yes, and now they did update the polygon a little bit to show you. Now, these polygons, if you were just wondering, the polygon shape is significant here because typically they're going to be shaped from this part, and then they'll widen as far as an opportunity or a zone of possibility is. So the actual tornado is going to be right here with the possibility of it going within this window toward the end. That's why polygons are shaped that way, and they're not squares anymore. They used to be squares or in the shape of your county. Now they're actually in the shape of a direction that they think this is going to move. So the small end is going to be the origination. The larger end is going to be the destination. And at this point now saying that that's moving up toward Langley and Copeland into the Grove area and beyond. So pretty much what you're looking at there. Then down to the south, we have our tornado warning here near Eufaula. This is going to be the Henrietta storm that we're looking at just a little bit earlier there. not too far away from Gore into Muskogee, into Tahlequah. That's a new storm. All right, so we got two things going on here. One is a tornado warning for Eufaula and Dutchess Landing. You might remember this is the area up here. I covered this many years ago when a barge let loose on the Arkansas and hit a bridge here one time. I don't remember exactly when that was, but that's what I remember about the area. And now what is a severe thunderstorm warning is here across the region that is just to the south of Fort Gibson and Muskogee. There's an inbound and an outbound there, so I know they're watching that closely as well. You have wind that's coming toward and away from the radar side in a very small area right about there. So certainly need and reason to be watching out for that as it all moves northeastward out of Zeb. They even, well, they sort of shortened the polygon actually, and talked about that. So that's what you got there in that section. The tornado watch box. I don't know if they're wishing they hadn't done it, but hadn't seen a whole lot there. And I guess that's in anticipation of what's coming on a little bit later. I'm not really sure, so let's see what I got here. Again, the Nashville storm. I'm getting some people who are writing me about the Nashville storm saying it was pretty bad coming through. And it is. That's a wicked-looking storm. I mean, this thing's got some power to it coming in. This is a gust that's taking place out ahead of the system right about here. Belmead, down to the south. This is a little gust area, a little comma head on the northern side. But these are going to be some strong winds gusting right in here. We'll have some wind gusts there probably reaching up into the 40 to 50 mile per hour range. As, maybe even greater. And we'll have to watch the little notch area there, too. I don't think there's anything that's rotating with it just yet, but let me look. No, it's a straight line event here. And see, we're far enough away to where we're not really affected. Nashville is not really affected just yet by the change in wind direction with height. So we're kind of sitting here at the moment with directional wind that's headed in the same direction. They did issue a severe special weather statement, actually, that included all that area. Doppler radar tracking down a thunderstorm near Coopertown, or near Pegram, that's near Fairview. Movement east at 30, winds in excess of 40. And I can see that there. You can see that in the velocity data. But coming into downtown Nashville on Briley Parkway, the rest of the area there near Dollywood, near the, Cumberland River, and coming into the Gaylord Hotel area is what I was trying to say. Briley Parkway here to the south, and then Hendersonville all the way up to the National Weather Service there just off of the Cumberland that we were looking at. So kind of watching all of that at the moment as the storms begin to pick up. There's a lot of lightning that's being detected there as well. So watch out if you're driving there. If you're going to be driving somewhere in the central sections of Tennessee, you want to watch out for that situation very closely. Again, within the box to the north, we have warnings here that still exist for several of these areas that we were talking about a little bit earlier that are adjacent to the Muskogee, McAllister region. This is the one coming across the interstate, I-40 at the moment near Chakotah, and let's see, Okemah back to the west there too that we're looking at. This is Haskell, McIntosh, and Pittsburgh, where we're still looking at the possibility of a tornado coming across Eufaula, and the one near Veneta there as well. This is a brand new tornado warning. You might have heard it. Is it a brand new tornado warning? No, it's just a movement. Radar indicated this is going to be valid until 7 o'clock tonight. This is now a new tornado warning, which I guess you could say that based on the fact that the old one had expired. And so there it is, the inbound and the outbound associated with it near the town of Downsville and Farmerville. Coming into Marion from the southwestern side near Sterlington and beyond. We have the likelihood of a tornado being shown right here into this area, Downsville, Farmerville, and beyond. Coming into Marion on the south side, moving northeast at about 35 to 40 miles per hour, which would include the rest of the area as we go through the rest of this evening with some of the stronger thunderstorms that we're looking at there too. And these will all be possible tornado makers here. We're outside of the 70s, so the 70-mile range, so that's getting a little bit more difficult to pinpoint. There's some strong rotation here, although it doesn't look like at this point that's going to be anything that would be producing a tornado, and it's somewhat benign here into the short term. There's not a whole lot going on. This thing near Winfield has some spin rotation, but that's not close to being tornadic at this point. The other thing that is well back to the west. And if we skip and hop across the watch box there, and we get to the other one over here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that might be the new area there that we shall be following as we go into the rest of this evening. So not much going on there in the way of precipitation just yet, or thunderstorms that could be causing more problems. Just got a new deal here from about a winter storm warning now. This is up into South Dakota. I mean, the northern end of this is going to be producing some very heavy snowfall in time that and ice, but it's snowfall for the belt that goes from Minneapolis back to the west, and again, an ice storm may be part of this as it all pushes off to the east. And they just sort of upgraded this tornado warning for the next 20 minutes now. Craig, Delaware, Mays. This is a continuation. We have about 6,500 people in population there for that polygon. Headed just off to the north and east outside of Ketchum and Veneta. We used to have a good camera there in Veneta. I'll look and check that out to see if we got any more information about that. Batesville down to the south. Is this an outbreak? Absolutely not. This is not an outbreak, which is quite all right with us. But it's an enhanced risk through the day today. A risk that we've been watching for a while now. This started showing up in the 6-day time frame. It was listed as a 15% and proceeded to go upward and into the enhanced region where we reached today. If you look back, I'm not really sure what's going to be the reasoning that this has done what it's done, which has really just enveloped a big rain shield along with it. We've had a couple of distinct areas where I feel sure we've had a few tornadoes that have been on the ground. Some of the pictures that we saw from Jarvis, from Brandon just a little while ago, indicated what looked to be severe damage there to a high school a little bit earlier that was showing up. And then besides that, we've only had a few more pictures. We don't have a lot of social media contact out there that tells us any differently. A little rotation down there near Dodson again. But this is in a region that's so overworked at the moment. I don't know how much more we can produce out of those same areas because we're just training in echoes here. And in fact, why don't we just look and see how much rain is being detected here from storm totals. There's some pretty high totals here already showing up. I mean, these are indicative of 3 and 4 inch totals here around Jonesboro, 2.5 to 3 inches. Coming in a fairly short amount of time there, actually, when it all began. But all that is still moving on to the east and doing so at a fairly decent clip. And there's the new tornado warning. They did push that across the border and over into Arkansas. So it's Union County, Arkansas. You're included in that tornado warning now. Southeastern Union County, Union Parish, and north central Louisiana. Storm capable of producing a tornado about 8 miles to the southeast of Farmerville, 11 miles to the northwest of Claiborne, moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. And so that's where that currently stands at the moment, with all of that activity kind of riding from west to east and moving along the boundary that goes off to the north. I tell you what, we're going to shut it down here a few minutes and gather some more information, try to get some pictures to you here very shortly. It's not over with, but we're in somewhat of a lull. I'm not really sure. I haven't done a lot of research myself to find out whether or not it's ramping up later on tonight. I know the Jet's going to get involved here very shortly, and some of that could ramp up as we go through the night tonight in the next few hours, basically, I think would be the case right now. The tornado warnings that we currently have down in Louisiana, we got a couple there. We have a few scattered into the eastern sections of Oklahoma, coming into the southwestern portions of Missouri. up around Springfield, maybe later on this evening as well. And enhanced risk continues during the day tomorrow, so we'll be looking at that as we go through the remainder of this evening as well, and have some more information for you coming up. So as we do that, we just want to keep you up to date on any sort of changes that do occur going through and into the next few hours. Brandon Jarvis is with me. Dean Barry's with me. Brett Adair is out and about somewhere with his ears on, I hope. And we'll try to get you some more information as we go through the rest of this evening. Stay with us. We'll come back from time to time and give you some more information. And thank you for being with us so far. All right, we're back again, and I wanted to mention, first of all, that we're still covering this weather for you throughout the rest of this evening. Off and on, we've been watching what's been happening, and we'll take some more questions here in just a few moments from you. If you have any, please send those to us, and we'll try to answer those as we go along through the next several hours. We are watching the fact that another watch has been issued here, the one that's furthest to the south and east since the last time that we did talk to you. So there may be more in the way of watches as we go through the rest of the night tonight. And the one that has the most time length on it ahead of everything is going to be 3 a.m. Early in the morning. And that's for the one that's furthest off to the east there, across northern sections of Louisiana, southern portions of Arkansas, crossing over the Mississippi River. That goes until 3 a.m. It'd be this one right here near Greenville. And there's some thunderstorms here, and we do have a tornado warning down to the south in Monroe. And let's just get to that really quick here and take a look at what we do have here. Monroe, Louisiana, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning now turned tornado warning. Ouachita Parish, it's going to be moving off to the northeast at 35 near West Monroe. And that includes several towns to the east, which would also be Balcom into the Richwood area, Guthrie, Millhaven. You're all included within this tornado warned area. Once again, this is inbound, outbound, showing us not too tightly packed here. But again, we're out of reach of any good radar echo region at the moment. So we're still just kind of showing a very broad area of rotation with that storm. A few more tornado warnings to the north up here near Fort Smith. We have tornado warnings in effect here. And that's going to be just to the west of the radar site, inbound, outbound right there. Actually, the polygon to the south or to the west, the storm is no longer in this polygon, so cancel that one out. Tamaha is where this thing is, right about there. Near Salisaw, moving up through the rest of the county there and coming in hot, if you will, on the western side of things. That's going to be the next 34 minutes in effect for Haskell, Muskogee, and Sequoyah counties. You're all underneath a tornado warning coming in from the west and moving eastward. And we still have 3 watch boxes included: eastern Oklahoma, central sections of Arkansas, down into Shreveport, Tyler, Texas, also reporting, as well as what we have a little bit further on to the east. And we've been watching that one as well, coming through over the past few hours because, well, it's been one of those that has had some pretty good rotation with it over the past few hours. And we're certainly going to be watching that as we move along into the next few hours as well. We still have with us here, we've got Dean Barry, who is with us, and Brandon Jarvis, who we've been talking to through this evening. Dean, let's start with you first of all. And what are your concerns now as we go through the rest of this evening as far as safety-wise?
Yeah, David, we are moving into the nighttime hours. It has been after dark in the central time zone. I know out here on the east, it's been dark for a couple of hours. We will caution people. I urge them to adopt a practice called slow down, bed down. And basically, tornadoes, you don't want to be out driving during tornadic weather. You just don't. Even during daylight hours, you don't. But especially at night, and especially in this area of the country, you are not going to have that line of sight and that field of vision. They do say that if you're trapped in a car, you're out on the road and you're nearby a tornado and you're just a normal person, to try to move at right angles away from the tornado, and then take last resort measures if you can't. You're not going to be able to see it after dark. And if you want a more practical reason, take a look at this region. already before the events of the day started, there were flood watches out for large swaths of this area. So you're going to be looking at a situation where massive amounts of rain are falling over the area, and flood waters are a lot harder to see at night too. So get to your home if you live in a sturdy built home, apartment complex, that type of building. If you live in a mobile home, modular home, trailer, go to a friend's house or family member's house who has a structural building and just spend the night there. Get off the roads. Don't be out and about in this, and just keep yourselves protected.
Always good information. I mean, from what we've been looking at through the day today, and again, you mentioned the flooding, and we've already got plenty of that going on. We have training echoes over the same region that have been going on through the day today that we've been watching. Brandon's been picking up some off and on information for us as well. Brandon, what do you have as far as that goes, as far as at least into the short term, as far as that information has it? And we'll be checking in with Brett here in just a second as well.
Currently, I have a picture here of a wall cloud that was in McAllister, Oklahoma earlier. I don't know if you can throw that up on screen.
Give me just a sec.
Yep.
Tell us about it here for just a second. I'm working on Brett as well.
Yeah. It's a little blurry picture, but you can see the wall cloud out in the distance, and
yes. So this was a storm that we had a tornado warning on much earlier. We were following that thing as it was moving on out of the area, but it did have a wall cloud on it. And actually, Brett will have some more information on that, I'm sure, too, when we get him up here in just a couple of seconds here. Let's see. 13.
Yep.
Let me see if I can. I think we have a good picture from Brett here at the moment. And let's just make sure I have his the rest of his information here. Brett, do you hear me? Well, I hear you. It doesn't sound great, but hold on one sec. How about now? Nope. So Brandon messed up our audio there for a second. Let's see. We'll try this again in just a couple of seconds. But anyway, the gist of what we're talking about here with everybody that we've been talking about. Brett, I'll come back to you in just a few seconds. Let me wrap this up real quick here. The gist of what we're looking at here is mainly the 3 tornado watches that we do have that are in effect, and as everybody's been really talking about here, at least in the short term, is the fact that we had quite a bit of rainfall to go along with all of this. So I know we have flash flooding that's occurring as well. Up and down the line, really all the way down into Louisiana, central southern Louisiana. The tornado warning that we have currently is in effect there for Monroe, Louisiana. That's going to be just off of I-20, Ouachita Parish. It's Ouachita Parish, still underneath the tornado warning at the moment. So we've kind of been looking at all of that into the short term, and it still looks like much of that is going to be moving on eastward as we go through the next several hours as well. The video that we've been talking about, I'll try to pop that up here in a second as well. I got behind on everything, but we also have a risk during the day tomorrow. We still have an enhanced risk that's in effect for the day tomorrow that goes all the way over into Alabama this time. So we'll be watching out for that too as we go through time, whether or not we have some kind of information that would change that as we go through the next several hours. I don't know if anything downstream here is going to affect that during the day tomorrow, but some of the new modeling is now coming in at 7:30. We'll start getting the short range, high definition stuff, if you will. The stuff that really gives us hour by hour sort of information as we move along here too. So we'll look at that. And, other than that, let me see. I'm going to have to try to develop this with Brett here, who sounds a little bit like a mouse at the moment. And that's not his normal voice, which is what I basically know. Let's see. Talk again, Brett. Nah, you sound like a robot, not a mouse. Am I the only one hearing that?
Nope, I'm hearing that too.
Okay.
I'm hearing that as well.
Not sure what the deal is, Brett, but we'll try to get back to you. You look great. This is the best you've ever looked, Brett, as far as there you go. Let's try it now. I got you full screen. Tell us, talk to me again. I think we got you. I'm perplexed. I see your meter moving. I just have you as a little bit of a delay, I think, from your video, which we were kind of there a little bit earlier as well. The other guys, I don't have a delay from them, but let's do that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, TV! I'll tell you what. Yeah, I'm not really sure what his deal is while we're picking him up the way we are. If it's technically just coming out that way, but let's see again. Talk to me now, B. I'm sorry, Brad. I know it's not funny, but what did you do earlier that stopped that robotic voice? Stop it. You're making Jarvis laugh, and it's not funny. Yeah, there you are. It's better. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out, and we'll come back to you in just a little bit. I see there's a lot of lightning around you there too. But can we blame it on the lightning? Shoot me a video. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we do. I'm going to take that full so we can show everybody. This is in Monroe, Louisiana. This is where the tornado warning is. Just moments ago, there was a tornado warning issued there. They went severe thunderstorm warning in advance, out ahead of the storm, actually. They did go severe thunderstorm warning, which typically means they're no longer thinking tornado is involved. This is Ouachita Parish there, but some small little dink-sized hail seems to be falling there at the moment. Brett has a vehicle that can handle that very well and just sort of laugh at it. A lot of lightning being detected there also. We were seeing that off and on. They did go ahead upstream, though, and issue a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect that will go through Morehouse Parish in northeastern Louisiana. Near the town of Schwartz, it's moving at about 35, gusts to 60 miles per hour there. Within the actual area there, too, so kind of watching out for that as well. But, Brad, it's been a wacky sort of a day. We've had off and on scattered thunderstorms and tornado warnings. I mean, they've been out of the box for a while today. We saw a plethora of tornado warnings. I know you were Bennett in it there for a little while before it actually broke down and got rain wrapped in all. Did you actually see anything that you can clearly say was a tornado? Yeah, kind of looking at that as we were on the radar. Let's go back to the radar here, and we can sort of do this. I'm going to fill this in here real quick, and I guess we're still going to use, I don't know, we'll see if we can use DGX. We got a little bit better view of what's happening here. Still, inbound, outbound is kind of a little bit out of sorts. There's all the lightning that you saw with Brett, though. That's pretty much across that area and still going to continue to move off to the northeast around that region too and into the southern part of Morehouse Parish as it comes in from the south side. So we'll be looking at that also with all the very heavy rain that's continuing there too. But that's our lone tornado warning there until you go further and further up to the north and to the east. So that's what we have here at the moment. We're going to keep you abreast of what's happening across the rest of the region too. Going to check in. We're going to take a pause here for a few minutes and work on our technical issues here and get back with you in just a few because we need to. But, guys, I appreciate you being with us here throughout the evening. We've had Jarvis, Brandon Jarvis, who's been with us, Dean as well, to give us all kinds of information. And we'll pass more along to you as we get it. We still have 3 Tornado Watch boxes that are in effect across the region, so we'll get back to that and more coming up through the hour. But for now, we're going to take you back to your regularly scheduled program. I used to say, here's Oprah, but I don't think she's anywhere in sight. So, that's what we have for the moment, and we appreciate you being with us, and we'll come back with some more as we move on through the night tonight and still follow the situation as we'll do through the day.